I heard of stories about tikbalang, and this is a Filipino horror story. This was related to me by a friend's older sister who was an urban poor in Manila. One night she was awakened by a noise in her son's room. She thought it was just another nightmare brought to them by their nosy neighbor, Aling Nena. You see, Aling Nena had a big argument with her husband that night, and their house was right beside my friend's family home. So she went back to sleep. Then in the morning, she heard the same noise again. It sounded like someone was scratching the surface of the tin roof of their house. She went outside to investigate and saw a lot of half-peeled paint on the floor, specifically the areas where the scratching sounds were coming from. But when she looked up, there was nothing there. The paint was on the ground, and there were no signs of anyone climbing up or any way that someone could have possibly gotten up there. Days passed and the same thing kept happening. My friend's mom even found a small hole in the roof where she assumed the person was entering through. And then one night she heard a conversation coming from her son's room. She couldn't make out what they were saying, but it sounded like a man and a woman talking. She immediately called her husband and told him to check the roof again. This time he found a tikbalang. A tikbalang is a creature from Filipino folklore, a malevolent spirit that inhabits trees and uses them as a vantage point to spy on humans. They are known to cause people to go insane by staring at them for too long. Their eyes are said to glow red in the darkness, and they often appear as hunched over figures with long, sharp claws. If you hear their screeching call in the middle of the night, then beware, for they are luring you to come closer so they can attack and bring you into the forest. He described it as a scary-looking monkey with huge eyes that glowed red in the dark. It stared at him for a few seconds and then vanished into thin air. Of course, my friends, as family, called the barangay, and the whole neighborhood gathered together to perform an exorcism to drive the tikbalang away. But the tikbalang was persistent, and it took several attempts before it finally left. To this day, they still hear scratching sounds on the roof, but not as often as before. And whenever they do, they all make sure to stay away from the windows and keep their eyes closed until it goes away. That was a Filipino horror story. Do you have any similar experiences? Share them in the comments below. I'm the narrator. And if you want to hear more horror stories, stay tuned.